Final topic. Todd McFarlane has announced that he has completed his Spawn movie script and hopes to make a big screen announcement at Comic-Con. I'm assuming, now, first of all, I know what you're all thinking. Finally, we've been waiting on this every day, and that's all we've ever talked about or thought about forever, because Spawn has been
like the last 20
on
years
the forefront of our minds every day since that thing that happened decades ago, that cartoon movie, which is the only thing I can think about. But anyway, I'm assuming, why would someone of this level of celebrity that is known for Spawn put out something like that unless basically a deal was in place, right? Or about to be in place? Because why would you set up for everybody? Imagine going into Comic-Con now and he's like, nope, sorry. Why set up?
Still working it out.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible that could happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about
he
this?
He says he's been contacted. People asking him if he's going to make one. Mm-hmm. If he wants to make one, I'm sure there's money out there for him to do it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well,
if he wants to make a good one,
that's what I mean. Is there going to be studio hundreds of millions of dollars ready to do? Because that's always the plus or minus. I'm sure there's definitely people out there be like, well, I want to make here's like $20 million. Fuck you. We're not going to get anything up on screen for that. It's about getting the $100 to $200 million that it would take to do the special effects to see all the stuff we love about Spawn.
Well, it depends on what they wanted to do with that, because I think the video that he posted and what he was talking about is that he's trying to he's looking to get this thing away from the standard. Here's kind of like Spawn that we remembered from the earlier movie, which is the person in the bodysuit fighting.
Oh, I'm thinking of the animated is what I always think about. The live action I always thought of as kind of silly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the live action one. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. I was thinking of the animated, but yeah, there's
John Leguizamo.
Yeah. Like it's like it's more of a departure of that. It's more like this being that just kind of exists in the shadows.
Right.
And so I don't really see this as maybe necessarily needing $100 million budget to really get the story told that he wants to tell. That being said, I don't want him to get shortchanged, so he has to start making shortcuts and put out a product that's really not up to what his vision is. But this doesn't have to be another
He-Man movie.
What's that?
It becomes the He-Man movie.
Yeah,
then?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good example too, because that had its budget just ripped out from under it while it was in production. Because all I think about is, for me, when I think of Spawn, a movie and live action up on the screen, if I don't get to see lots of cool stuff of him using the cape and get to do stuff, then it's kind of this abstract thing that so far I don't care about.
What always drew me into Spawn when it first came out in the comics is it had a timeline. Like, he made a deal with the devil, and he had this much power or time or whatever it was that he could use. By using his powers, that number got less and less. So if they can actually incorporate that in there instead of it being some stupid idea where he makes a deal with the devil and then the devil's telling him what to do and who to kill, get away from that part of it.
Yeah.
And focus on what he can do, but what it costs him to do those things. And I think you could make a decent Spawn movie. And it wouldn't have to be $200, $300 million. If you were clever with it, you could make that movie for a little over 100, probably.
Yeah, you could. We say that like we're all studio execs that know exactly how to budget line items and contracts with Weta Digital and ILM, and here's what you need here for your overhead, and I expect this. Yeah, that's cool. Would you guys want another Spawn movie up there?
I'd love to see one.
Would you?
Oh yeah. And part of that's just because the bar was set probably so low with the last one that they did,
the live action one.
Because
I thought the animated one was awesome.
The animated series was great. Because it was closer in the vein of the comics.
It's really adult. For the time, remember when that wasn't that like the late or that was in the mid to late 90s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember even watching a scene again on the animated series where like Spawn, I remember the guy's name or whatever, sees like his wife is with his friend or whatever, and they're being like intimate and shit, and he's just getting like mad as hell. And I'm like, man, this is definitely different from like Transformers, and like as far as themes and some of the stuff they're showing and talking about, it was a lot more adult. Because I think it was like
that's the way it was in the comics too, though.
Yeah. More graphic, what do you call it? graphic novel than comic book? Well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, no, I mean it's still a
based on-
comic book. It's just the content was more mature.
Yeah. So you'd like to see that too?
Yeah, if it's rated R,
Oh,
They would have to be, right?
I think you have to.
I mean, if you do a PG-13 Spawn, why do it? Right?
He's hitting people with Nerf bats,
Yeah.
but he's really stern about it.
And don't get me wrong, I could see that. I could actually see studio execs making an argument for PG-13 if this was 5 to 10 years ago. But now it's been so proven from Deadpool to the Wolverine that no, rated R movies, even if they're comic book inspired, can make just as much, if not a lot more, if you stick closer to what made that source material impactful, and that's staying close to those rated R themes.
Yeah, darn it. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's
No, you're fine. Because Deadpool made more than any X-Men movie ever has. And the execs were worried about that because they think you're closing off an audience. You're losing all your teenagers. Well, clearly that didn't make a difference.
Well, yeah, when I went and saw it both times in the theaters, there were kids like 9 and 10 in there.
Uh-huh.
Not my kids, because I wouldn't let them see anything like that, but other people's kids. I was like, are you kidding me? I half expected them to get up and leave, and they didn't.
Why? Why would you
were
think
there
that
the
they
whole
would
movie.
get up and leave? Because they were offended by the material? Do you remember being 9 or 10? We would have been like, oh, they swore. That's cool. Oh, look, they're talking about sex.
Yeah. No, I remember like Goonies was a big deal back in the day, and all it had was language.
Oh, yeah, because they swore a lot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like within the first minute, like before the opening credits are done, Chunk is against the wall saying, like, I think he said holy shit or something like that. Yeah.
And that was a Richard Donner movie, too. But, I mean, come on. Like, being kids, you'd always, like, there'd be a little bit of
We heard
swearing
it
here and there.
I mean, you hear it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't anything new, or I don't think that was shocking at that point. Maybe you're right, you didn't see as much in movies as much, but as far as realistic how kids and people are, it's not.
I guess the thing about Deadpool with me was
No, Deadpool's
When
completely different, okay? When
Yeah,
when she's like saying you're going to be the woman here for National Women's Day and I'm going to stick something up your
that
ass.
one,
That's
and
a
then
different story.
And then the hand,
That-
it's gonna look huge in this thing.
There's a world of difference between the Goonies and him saying shit in front of his friends and
Ryan Reynolds
jerking
masturbating
off with his tiny little hand that was cut off in his growing back.
Baby.
and
Yeah.
the unicorn in the other.
Yeah. World of difference there. I like how we can mirror image those. Well, that's cool. I'm just wondering if, I mean, obviously now that I think studios are, this is generalizing, it seems like studio execs, George Lucas would always talk about that, are really quick to, as soon as they identify one tiny little thing that must have been the reason a movie was successful, now let's all do it. So after Star Wars, you got like The Last Starfighter. Okay, but not that great. It's because people want to watch space movies. I'm like, no, there's a lot of themes in Star Wars that have been true since the beginning of time, the coming of age story, all this kind of stuff. They're always quick to find easy stuff, and I think one of the trends you see in Hollywood now is, shared universe, right? So you see everybody on TV and movies doing that all over the place. And now, rated R movies with comic books. It works. Now everybody wants to jump in this. So I think that if a Spawn movie wants to get made, this is kind of its best window of opportunity to probably do that. So this announcement doesn't surprise me. I was just curious how many people out there are aware of this property. Would it warrant 100 to 125 to 150 million dollars to make something like this, to actually get it up on screen? I think now the studio execs would probably have more confidence in it because of the returns they've seen.
Possibly. I mean, because
It's so abstract.
It is, but if you look at kind of what the draw is, there's enough of an unpredictability factor because nobody knew who Deadpool was.
Yeah, but I think that Ryan Reynolds drew in so many people because of his known sarcasm.
Well, yeah,
And then with a word of mouth, really took that movie off.
It did, but this is all like, but it wasn't established. This wasn't an
No,
established.
sure. No. The risk was there. The execs were nervous as hell about Deadpool. Yeah. I'm just talking about some of the things that made it. There was some aspect of that, I'll agree, but I would have to argue that the biggest elements that made that movie a huge success were the fact that watching Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is fucking awesome. Watching the commercials and trailer for a rated R, inappropriate, Ryan Reynolds, perfect guy to do it in the trailer. You already knew what movie you were going to see, and it was exactly that movie. You already knew what it was. Then the buzz and the word of mouth spread. It's exactly what you think it would be.
To say that Deadpool didn't have a following, it's got a huge following.
Sure, but I
People
think
love
not
Deadpool
close
that
to
read
what,
comics.
let's say, X-Men or something else is. I don't know a single other person besides you that even knew who that was.
I mean, it's like fanboy It's like they're in love with Deadpool. It's their
Totally
character.
agree. There's a
Since
definite.
they come out in the 90s.
Totally agree that there's a core audience for that. But what I'm saying is, just like X-Men, Transformers, or anything else, if those core fanboys would have went to that movie 6 times, that movie still would have been a flop. That is not
That's
enough by numbers, even close, to get it to the movie to the numbers that it actually hit. And I think it hit that mass audience scale because of primarily Ryan Reynolds. That got him in the theater, and then you find out the story is actually pretty good. Not super excellent.
Well, and it opened on Valentine's Day, so that had to help.
Yeah, actually, wouldn't that be a fun date movie?
What a
to go
date
to?
movie.
Yeah, they actually did a Valentine's Day ad. You remember that?
They did.
They did like 5.
Yeah.
They did a trailer, the Valentine's Day trailer. Like,
Right.
This is a romance movie.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if they were that scared to do Deadpool and all those elements worked out right, and it did. Studio execs would be less scared of doing Spawn for, let's say, $150 million. But you're not going to have Ryan Reynolds. You're not going to have that draw in. And this is a way less. If we thought Deadpool was a lesser known character than, let's say, X-Men or Marvel's universes or Iron Man or anything like that, Spawn's got to be even way lower on that totem pole. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, what do you guys think the probability of this coming to fruition the way we'd like to see it for, let's say, $125, $150 million?
I don't know. I could see it happening.
I could.
Yeah.
It's there. It'll get made.
Think so?
I mean, these movie studios are printing money. If they can make a garbage movie like the Fantastic Four,
Which one?
Yeah.
and make their money back on that.
Well, they did. Did they make their money back on the third one? Because didn't that bomb like crazy?
Yeah, the newest one.
Yeah. The
Oh
newest
yeah.
one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They made their money back.
They did.
With international sales, they got it back.
Oh, international.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So you're giving it.
And Spawn does have a big, because of the animated aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a following with that crowd.
Yeah.
Now, could it Ghost in the Shell? It's entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is kind of niche in that regard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you giving it a prune juice guarantee it's going to get made? Since we're already kind of in that zone for this episode.
Splashing it around tonight, huh?
Sprinkle it everywhere, Matt.
Yeah, I'll give it a guarantee.
Really?
Now, will he have, will he have it all lined up?
The way you say that sentence, I'll give it a guarantee. You have zero credibility in the way that you toned out that sentence whatsoever. It's like saying, well, we're going to drive down here. We can't see in the dark. We might go over a cliff. Yeah, I'll give you a guarantee. We're not going to fall off a cliff. It's going to be fine. Okay. I don't know about you, but if I'm in the back of that car, I'm doing everything I can to get that fucking door open so I'm getting out of the goddamn car. So, for those of you watching, you take that as you will, whatever that means. Cool.
It'll get made.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Will it get made and the plans be there by July? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people can say all the time that this is go ahead, but until production is greenlit and they have a start date that's already set, nothing ever means anything until then too. So
just ask Kevin Smith how that works.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Fractured Focus, episode number 23, the show where we obsess about everything from geek culture to nerd news, along with random topics for discussion. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and don't forget you can check us out at youtube.com/fracturedfocus as we attempt to entertain you with our semi-witty banter and our incessant rambling. Until next time, I want to say something prune juice, but I feel like when you over prune in an episode, it's going to lose some of its effect if we do it subsequently in other episodes. But we coined that term
I think if
here.
you have too much prune juice, it's not a good thing.
That could be, you know what? That's a tagline for t-shirts for us for Fractured Focus. Fractured Focus. That verbiage, nothing else, no explanation. Sell like hotcakes. Until next time.